Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, and that's exactly what we're talking about today. Plus, a couple of posters and a print that I am very excited to showcase and share with you. I'm kind of in love with them. They're right over here, and I cannot wait to show them off. But I got those on Etsy, and we'll talk about those in a second. But I recently actually went up to Kansas City to see my good buddies Disconnected and KB Loves Movies and hang out with them for the day and have some barbecue and go to Vintage Stock. So I actually picked up a few things on the way up there, and I'm probably going to be talking about some of these titles in my week 7 and week 8 journeys where I'm doing my film journey. So let's jump into the titles that I picked up, and before we jump into it, I would love to know what you've been picking up and also what you're watching. Let me know in the comment section down below. And let's jump in to the haul from Kansas City. So I actually had a little bit of time before I met up with the boys, and I decided to go to the Filling Coffee Station in Westport, and right next door to it is a Half Price Books, and I always love perusing in that section and always kind of finding different knickknacks. Usually I get some Criterions, and sometimes I find things like a Twilight Time, which is what I'm going to showcase today, and another film that I picked up, and I had some great coffee, and I also picked up these great titles right here, Fever Pitch and A Summer Story from 1997 and 1987. And I watched A Summer Story, and we'll talk about this here later on in my film journey as I talk about the films that I watched. But this is a great romance film from the 80s. It's definitely very dated, but it also packs a big punch. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And the other film is Fever Pitch, and this came out in 97. This is starring Colin Firth, and it's about a football fan who is a fanatic who is honestly, it kind of reminds me in a weird way of something along the lines of High Fidelity, but that's kind of what I would describe it. It's quite an interesting film, but is also surrounded by soccer, and talking specifically about Arsenal and their tragic history, I suppose. But yeah, Fever Pitch, I'm excited to talk about that. So after that, I got my coffee and I met up with the boys, and then we went to Vintage Stock because Vintage Stock was doing a Labor Day sale, and there's some things we wanted to pick up. So I actually got 3 titles here, and those titles are, the first one being They Might Be Giants, which is starring George C. Scott and Joanna Woodward, and I'm really excited about this. I think this actually came out on Indicator, and I missed it when I was overseas. I believe my friend Davey actually told me to pick it up, but I couldn't find it. But I found the Kino Lorber version here, and I think this should suffice, I hope. Davey, tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm excited about this one. This came out in 1971, and I don't know much about this, but apparently we have George C. Scott, who is pretending to be Sherlock Holmes, or at least he's convinced himself to be Sherlock Holmes. So that sounds like an interesting premise nonetheless, but definitely picked that one up. And I actually picked up a few horror titles because I'm definitely in the horror mood right now, because October is literally right around the corner. And the other 2 titles that I picked up were ones that were actually handed to me, and I'm like, give me those, because I didn't have them. And I've been wanting to watch these movies for some time now, but I finally found them in the wild, or my friend found them. It is Dead Snow and Dead Snow 2, Red vs. Dead. These are a lot of fun, and I'm very curious and excited to talk about these movies in my film journey. But I had a blast with these movies. They're horror comedies of sorts, and they're very over the top, very different tonally too. But we'll get into those. But shout out to KB and Ryan. I think Ryan's the one who showed them to me, and then I'm like, yeah, give me those, because I don't have them. But these are fun films, and curious to see what anyone else thinks about Dead Snow, and I would love to hear your thoughts on them down in the comment section. Now, the other things that we did is we went to Barnes & Noble, because they are also having a 50% off Arrow video sale, but Barnes & Noble, they notoriously do not have much of a section for Arrow Video. It's usually just like a little cart of just like a couple titles, and that's kind of what it was. But we went there, and I picked up a few titles here, ones that were recommendations from my friends, and they're, I believe, all on 4K. This one, is this 4K? Yeah. This is the only one of them is on Blu-ray. So the one on Blu-ray I got is American Gigolo from Paul Schrader, who I'm a huge fan of. His work, obviously, with Taxi Driver and things like First Reformed and City Sleeper and things like that. But I'm curious about this movie, and I didn't know Arrow put this out. This is on a really cool limited edition box set. But I'm very excited to check this movie out, and I haven't seen it yet or really heard much about it, but it is, came out, right at the turn of the decade. It's 1980 is when this came out. So very curious about this. It's got Richard Gere in it, and I really like his stuff. So the next film I picked up is a 4K, and this one is of Barbarella. One that KB's like, yeah, you should pick that up. It's a fun time. And so I'm very curious about this movie. I've always seen the legacy of this movie, and I've always seen this talked about in documentaries and brought up, and I've seen clips from this movie, but I've never watched it, and I'm glad that Arrow finally put it out. I just got the standard edition right here on 4K. Honestly, I'm getting to the point where I honestly just care if I get the movie. That's where I'm at. And but regardless, KB, thank you for the recommendation there. And the last film that I picked up for this entire Kansas City trip was one that I was really excited about, because KB was talking about it actually when we were at Vintage Stock. He saw it there, and that's actually what spurred us on to go to Barnes & Noble. It's because they're like, hey, this is 50% off at Barnes & Noble, so why not go there? And I'm talking about Mute Witness, and this is from 1995, I believe. Yeah, 5. And wow, this is a terrific film, and I will talk more about this in my film journey as we get along, but this is a terrific film that reminds me of like a Fincher film meets like a Brian De Palma film, but it's directed by the guy who directed American Werewolf in London. And yeah, it's a great time, and there's a lot of mystery to it, but we'll get into that as we get along. But that was a really fun trip. I was able to go to Kansas City and see my friends and just enjoy some time out, and I didn't shoot any footage, and so I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted to hang out with my friends. So that's honestly what I did. Now, the other things I wanted to share today with you is a couple of posters and prints that I've been picking up. I actually have recently, here and there, every other week or so, I've just been kind of curious about more posters, which I know everyone gets so many posters, I'm sure, from a lot of these box sets and their own personal collection. And honestly, space is a commodity, and I know that. But these prints I had to get. So the ones that I've actually talked about a little bit, I think, on the channel, and at least in terms of showcasing them in the community, and those prints are the 3 Colors trilogy. We got 3 Colors Blue, 3 Colors Blanc, and we have 3 Colors Rouge. I almost knocked everything over. But yes, Rouge probably is my favorite of the bunch. I just love how this pops. But it has the 3 colors right here. It has the 3 couleurs, and then it has the colors like Rouge, Blanc, and Blue. So, and then it just has characters from these movies. And, I just recently talked about the Kieslowski 3 Colors trilogy and how much I adore these films. And so I definitely wanted to pick up these, and really just, I've been really reflecting a lot on these movies. And so I picked up these. I picked up white right here, and I also picked up blue. And so, yeah, I love these releases, and honestly, I have them hanging up, and they're really, really fun. Now, the other thing that I picked up is a print that I got from Etsy another trilogy that I adore, and is probably my second favorite trilogy of all times. I actually just got this yesterday in the mail, and I'm very, very excited to show it to you. It is the 3 Colors trilogy. And this is the 3 Colors by Richard Linklater. As you can see, there are a lot of really cool details within this print. So this is actually a type A4. I don't think I've mentioned this. All of these things are A4 in terms of posters and prints. And this is just stunning. These films are stunning. And if you're a fan of romance or just a fan of a continuing story that has a great set of characters that you love and also fight against and fight for, this trilogy is a fantastic one. And I laugh, I cry, I have so many emotions when I watch these movies, and so I definitely wanted a print of this, and this print is just gorgeous. Showing before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight. Now, before sunset is my favorite of the 3. I like things that are kind of just happening in the moment, and that's what this film is all about. But anyway, I just wanted to showcase that and showcase some of the titles I picked up from my trip. But I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. It's really fun to kind of just make a little short video of some of the things that I've been picking up and things I've been enjoying. And I've watched a lot of these movies already, so I'm excited to share that with you once I get the time to talk about it in the film journey. Be sure to check that out as I'm going along with it. It's going to be fun. And the next video that comes out, we're going to be finishing Twin Peaks, and I'm excited to showcase that whole journey of mine. It's been so much fun. But anyway, I want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you've been picking up, what you've been watching. I would love to know, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.